we started this conversation with saying, hey, this is different than anything in terms of efficiency that came before it. This is, I'm going to put some words in your mouth here, but this is like a step function, more efficient. So to the argument of, hey, efficiency has always resulted in, more ideas and we've found something to do with people's time. Is this time different potentially because this is so much more powerful? This isn't just like a spell checker.
I would say differently. I think, and I agree with what JCal is saying, because I think that the thing that technology has never done is tried to displace human judgment. It's allowed us to replace physical exertion of energy, but it has always preserved humans injecting our judgment. And I think this is the first time where we're being challenged with autonomous systems that has some level of judgment. Now we can say, and it's true, again, we're 4 months in, that judgment isn't so great. But eventually, and because of the pace of innovation, eventually it's probably not that far away, the judgment will become perfect. I'll give you a totally different example. How many pilots are there in the world? Will we, at some point in the next 10 years, want folks to actually manually take off and land? Or will we want precision-guided instrumentation and computers and sensors that can guarantee a pitch-perfect landing every single time in all kinds of weather conditions, so that now planes can even have 50x the number of sensors with a computer that can then process it and act accordingly? Just a random example that isn't even thought of when we talk about sort of where AI is going to rear its head. I think that this judgment idea is an important one to figure out, because this is the first time I've seen something that is bumping up against our ability to have judgment. And what this person was talking about in this Midjourney example is his judgment has been usurped.
Yes.
Yeah, I would disagree.
Well, I don't know
so
about
like,
that.
look, yeah, let me just make one point on this. So, an image is a matrix of, data that's rendered on a screen and as pixels, and those pixels are different colors. And, that's what an image is.
Is it, or is it the judgment of the creator?
Well, no, I'm just saying an image in general. So like when Adobe Photoshop and digital photography arose, photographers were like, this is, BS. Why are you digitizing photography? It was analog and beautiful before. And then what digital photography allowed is the photographer to do editing and to do work that was creative beyond what was possible with just a natural photograph taken through a camera. And they're arguably different art forms, but it was a new kind of art form that emerged through digital photography. And then in the early 90s, there was a plugin suite called Kai's Power Tools that came out in Adobe Photoshop. And it was a third-party plugin set. You would buy it, and then it would work on Photoshop. And it did things like motion blur, sharpening, pixelation, all these interesting kind of like features. And prior to those tools coming out, the judgment of the digital artist, the digital photographer, was to go in and do pixel by pixel changes on the image to make that image look blurry, or to make it look sharper, or to make it look like it had some really interesting motion feature. And the Kai's Power Tools created this instant toolkit where in a few seconds, you created a blur on the image. And that was an incredible toolkit, but a lot of digital artists said, this is automating my work. What is my point now? Why am I here? And the same happened in animation when CGI came around and animators were no longer animating cells by hand. And in every point in this evolution, there was a feeling of loss initially, but then the evolution of a whole new art form emerged, and an evolution of a whole new area of human creative expression emerged. And I think we don't yet know what that's going to look like with respect to what we're seeing here.
Do you think the level of judgment that AI offers you is the same as the level of judgment that Kai Power Tools offered you?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that the person making the judgment or the decision about which pixel to change into what color felt like, I have control. And I think it's ultimately like a sense of control.
I disagree with you. I mean, I think that this is...
it's a magnitude different. I'm with you, Chamath.
It's more than a magnitude different.
Yeah. It's a whole
Kai's
different
Power
level.
Tools, it's still it's on you. You
and I have sat in spreadsheets many times, and
I'm generally happy with this idea. So I'll give you a different example. Today, we use radiologists and pathologists to identify cancers.
Yep.
There are closed-loop systems. We have one right now that's in front of the FDA. That is a total closed-loop system that will not need any human input. So I don't know what those folks do. Except what I can tell you is that we can get cancer detection basically down to a 0% error rate. That is not possible with human intervention. That is judgment.
Right.
So I just think it's important to really acknowledge that this is happening at a level that it's never happened before. You may be right that there's some amazing job for that radiologist or pathologist to do in the future. I don't know offhand what that is, but these are closed loop systems now that think for themselves and self-improve.
I get it, but I think that there's an unfathomable set of things that emerge. We did not have the concept of Instagram influencers. We did not have the concept of personal trainers. We did not have the concept of like all these new jobs that have emerged in the past couple of decades that people enjoy doing, that they can make money doing, that is a greater kind of experience and level of fulfillment for those that choose and have the freedom to do it than what they were having to do before when they had to work just to make money.
What do you think that radiologist or pathologist wants to do? Be a trainer or a Pilates instructor?
No, I think
That's
we don't know
crazy.
what that's going to look like.